the quick wins coming out of COVID. So you do a lot of LinkedIn sponsored content, don't you, Tim? And
Yeah, we do, and we use one of the areas we do outsource is social marketing, where it's just a very simple invitation to connect with a good quality message, very short, and then a very simple, inobtrusive follow up message that basically comes from me. And allows people to connect with me and very quickly come back if there's something that resonates and is of interest. It's not pushy. It's very simple. It's very cost effective, and I think LinkedIn marketing in particular is a growing area that probably has taken over from the kind of old school telemarketing approach, and is particularly useful at the moment because people are far more likely to see an email or LinkedIn message and respond to that than they are, I think, to take a call. Calls will work to a degree, but I think that's a bit old hat.
yeah, no, I do agree. It's always been a struggle in every MSP that I've worked for, actually. The likelihood of you getting through, if you make 100 calls a day, let's say, you probably only get through to around 15 decision makers. And of those decision makers, maybe 1 in 200 would be likely to meet, but then it would usually get cancelled or delayed. And, it's just that, isn't it? So yeah, it's great that you can use LinkedIn in that new way to try and gain new business. It's great.
And I think some of the things that you could start a conversation with someone on LinkedIn and have that pinging back and forth on email, and actually can do a lot of the engagement via email. And some of the phrases that we found have worked particularly well in things like, typically the sort of companies that come to us do so because of, and then kind of mention, 2 or 3 pain points that we typically see in a market, in a size of business, in a geography. Describe the kind of pain points that are most commonly seen, and you've immediately found some common ground if they have those pain points, and they're far more likely to engage. They don't need to be saying to you, we've got a review of our IT supplier at the moment. That will come in due course if it's relevant to them, but you're engaging them in conversation that doesn't need to wait for you to have a physical face-to-face coffee with them.
Yeah, you're building that relationship, aren't you? And I think it's all about that.
Yeah.
At the moment. And now more than ever, everyone feels like they're in the same boat. So you've got, like you said, you reached out to somebody that you haven't spoken to in a couple of years, and now you've had a chat with them and you're likely to do business with them. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's obviously working. What I will say is, I'll just give you a handy tip here. So when I do, when I've got some really good content and I want to make sure that I get the absolute utmost coverage, and reach, I would sometimes send out a link to that piece of social on LinkedIn to the whole business and get them all to go to like or share or comment on it, because then you've just if I've sent that to 160 people, out of that maybe 40 of them might get involved, but it's just those little tips to help you try and push that content that little bit further.
Yeah. I think that, great calls to action are key. So, and also just having lots of different sources of places that are interested in that good quality content that are going to be relevant.
Yeah.
So, that, for example, if you're targeting the legal market, there are lots of business publications that will be relevant and could get read. There are lots of online and still physical publications that are specifically addressing the legal market and the legal technology market. That you should always have a really good media list or content list of places that you can get your content distributed to.
Definitely. And it's just, I guess, being following them as well. So when something comes up that you can comment on, it's other people noticing that you're commenting on those parts.
Yeah.
To build those relationships and whatnot. So so definitely some quick wins to come out of COVID, paid adverts for sure, and also outbound emails. And obviously it's focusing on the database that you currently have. So, focus on sending out your content, but also giving them something back and tailoring it to what is happening with, how you can help that business.